Now that we have learned how to create an item bank, I want to show you how you can use the items in your item bank to create an assessment. So I'm here in my sandbox course, going up to add materials, and I'm going to do add assessment. For this purpose, I put together some holiday facts in my item bank, so that's what I'm going to make here. Of course, you have to give it a category and all of the things that we have looked at setting up in the past. But I'm just going to click create so we can jump on in here. I'm going to go past the instructions phase and go down here to the bottom of my setup. One thing that you might consider with an item bank, say you have 100 questions from Unit 1 in your item bank, and you want to do some practice assessments building up to an overall assessment for the unit. You might have this set up, number of attempts student can submit 5. So your students complete it 5 times. This opens it up. Final grade is determined by highest score, last score. So I'm going to go by the highest score and I'm going to click save. When I go over to my assessment area, it looks exactly the same as what we've looked at in all of these other question setup situations, but we're going to do add from item bank. So when I click up here, I'm going to click on add from item bank. And the first thing I have to do is find the item bank that I am using. You'll notice, as in the previous video, it said we create an item bank in our resources area. This is looking at my resources. So personal resources or group resources. I'm going to go into my personal and into my home, and I see all of the different folders that I have within my resources. And down here at the bottom, I see that I have a holidays item bank, and that's the one that I am going to select. I see that there are 27 items in this bank, and I could either select all of them. It will take every question from my item bank and drop it into my assessment. I could select specific ones from here, or what I would do is add randomized items from my item bank. So up here at the top right, add randomized items. And then I can tell it, I want my students to have 10 random items from my item bank every time they take this assessment. And you'll remember I had this set that my students can take this up to 5 times, or I might tell them, take it 5 times. They'll receive 10 different questions each time. Now, this item bank only has 27 items, so probably not ideal because it would be repeating things as they go through all those different attempts. But if you had a lot of items, you might do this 10 items 5 times so that they see multiple question types that could be reviewing for a unit assessment, for example. The last thing you need to do is tell it how many points per item. This is going to assign that same number of points for every item. So I'm just putting in 1, and I am going to then add these 10 items to my assessment. And this is what you're going to see. So questions number 0, 1, so number 1 through 10 are all drawing from my randomized from item bank 10 items. And I can see this is coming from my personal resources, my home, and then the holidays item bank. And that this 1 through 10 is going to be for 10 total points. And it's as simple as that if you want to add randomized items from your item bank. But I could go back in here and decide there were a couple questions I want to be sure that my students all get. Maybe I want to be sure that they know in which month is Thanksgiving celebrated. So I'm going to select that one question, add one item. Now, not only do I have these 10 randomized items, I have one specific question that every student is going to get this one question. And then the 10 randomized items are going to vary from student to student as they take this assessment. So that is what you can do to add items from an item bank to an assessment in the Schoology Assessments tool.